All right, here we go. Example number 4, estimation, estimating a proportion, which again is fancy language for percentage. So, here we go. A sports marketing firm wants to estimate the proportion of sports fans who prefer football over baseball. We're estimating a proportion. Is it a confidence interval or a sample size kind of question? I have to acknowledge to you that some of this is reading comprehension, which I feel woefully inadequate in teaching. I'll just throw it out there. But here's where I think you would hopefully pick up on this. Part A. How large of a sample should they take? How large should the sample be? That's an N, sample size. So my hope would be you would therefore flip to the notes, okay, that Mr. Soy Sauce gave you. You go, I'm going to do a sample size. Now it's a question of whether they give us a p-hat. All right? So, I know I've seen these questions before. I realize that I'm more experienced with this. But the 86% is confidence level, and the within is margin of error. Those are not values of p-hat. I think thus far in the question, I would read and go, no, they didn't give me a p-hat there. There's no estimate for the percentage. There is no previously established value for the percentage of sports fans that prefer football over baseball. I don't see it. So, now look, here's the difference in part B. That's going to change. That's the idea. But we don't have part B right now, okay? So I would just simply say, no, I don't have an estimate. I don't have a p-hat. Therefore, this would be the appropriate formula for part A of the question. N equals 0.5 z alpha over 2. That's what that Greek letter is, by the way, that little fishy there, it's alpha. And here we go. So now it's time to plug numbers in. And let's go ahead and get what I would consider to be the low-hanging fruit here. We need to go back to the question again. E, margin of error, look for that word, within 3%. And that's 0.03. Make sure you change that percentage into a decimal, all right? But within 3%, plus or minus 3%, within margin of error, all right? The Z-score that is going to be plugged in there, as on all the previous ones, is going to be related to the level of confidence that that researcher wants. So again, that is an arbitrary number, but bell curve 0 in the middle, right, Z, and they want 86% confidence. By the way, I'm picking some kind of strange confidence levels here just to give you more practice on finding these different Z-scores. A lot of people will tell you that there's some levels of confidence that are kind of standard. Other people will tell you it can be anything you want, right? In fact, people can kind of make it whatever they want. And a good statistician would always ask, hey, what was the level of confidence you used for that particular study? And I will tell you that a lot of times people don't know the answer to that, or they fumble around, whatever. But anyway, 43%, and that's half of 86. Middle sliver, right? Table love middle sliver. This table is perfect for confidence intervals and estimation. So 4,300 is closest to 4,306, which is 1.48. So there's our Z-score, and technically it's a plus and a minus. But keep in mind, it doesn't matter, it's going to get squared. I would just advocate putting in the positive. You can get the same answer if you put the negative in there. All right, so now we need a calculator. Let's see, where's that? Oh, here we go. Draw. And order of operations, multiply, divide, all that. So 0.5 times 1.48 equals, divided by 0.03 equals, and then square it. All right. And it looks like that would be 608.4 repeating. And if that's a sample size, it is indeed going to be a whole number. So, round them up. Yeehaw! So that should be what? 609. And who is our population? Who are we surveying? What proportion of sports fans? Sports fans. That's their population. All right? So let's put that there. So the idea would be if the pollster called up a household, I think the first question they should ask would be, pardon me, may I speak to a sports fan in your household? Because they don't care. They're not going to market to people who aren't sports fans. So if you're not a sports fan, they don't want to sample you, right? So I hope that stands to reason. So let's be clear about who our population is when we give that answer. All right, so moving on to part B. When we go to part B, things have changed. Now that's part A, hit freeze frame, do whatever. All right, part B. Part B now says, we still want to find a sample size, but suppose in a recent survey of 400 sports fans, 263 out of 400 preferred football over baseball. That's a p-hat. That's an estimate of the percentage of sports fans who prefer football over baseball. 65.75%. Now we do indeed have a p-hat and a q-hat. And that changes things. That changes the methodology we use to get our sample size. So, that's the p-hat. 1 minus that is q-hat. And I would hope, just kind of by process of elimination, you'd go, well, if I have a p-hat and a q-hat, it makes sense that I would use the sample size formula that it's got p-hat and q-hat in it. Is there an estimate? Here's another way you could say that question. Do you have a p-hat? Okay. And over here you go, yeah, I got me a p-hat. Doesn't everybody want one? Okay. So, that's the formula for this question. P-hat, Q-hat, Z, these markers. C alpha over 2, error, so on. Sorry if that's hard to read. I need to write bigger, I need to spread things out better. I'm new at this, okay? I do appreciate you guys being very gracious and understanding, and I hope to extend that same courtesy to you. So I get it that everybody's doing the best they can with what we have here. All right, so let's make the most of this. So there's our p-hat, there's our q-hat. Our z-score is the 1.48 that we determined in part A, right? We're not changing the level of confidence that they want. That would be a commonality between the two examples. Margin of error within 3%, and then square. Okay, so then 1.48 divided by 0.03. There's things that people forget to do. Let's see, I just did what was in the parentheses, right? And then what happens after that? Squared! Sorry, did I square the heck out of you? All right, but anyway, here, squared, and then times the 0.6575, as well as times the 0.3425. And it looks like the sample size in that case would be 548.07, 15444. Now, keep in mind that these need to be whole numbers because they represent how many people do we need to survey, how many sports fans, right? Not just people. And again, round them up, 549. So, ooh, that's a good marker, 549 sports fans. That's our target market, isn't it? Okay. So there you go with that. And there would be the two answers for that. And again, I hope you understand that the difference between the two was here we were building off of somebody else's previous survey, and therefore we had prior information going into this, and therefore we didn't need to sample as many people. That's just kind of the general idea. So, hope that made sense. All right, ready? Draw! All right. I don't know what else to do. Yeehaw!